Hi, Denver Startup Week. I'm Ben Data, CEO of Food Maven and co-chair of Denver Startup Week, the largest free entrepreneurial event in the world. And it's only possible thanks to the support of our sponsors. We have nearly 40 sponsor companies who contribute to make DSW possible. Let's show our love for these companies today and all week long. Thanks to our title sponsors, Downtown Denver Partnership, JP Morgan Chase, Prologis, and Xero. Our track sponsors who have made all the great content you're hearing today possible. Battery 621 in the Public Works, Capital One Cafe, Colorado Lending Source, Friday Health, Quizlet, Exactly, Zayo, and Zestful. Our headline event sponsors are bringing you inspiration from around the country. Thank you to Wix, Kenzen, MAPR Agency, Obsidian HR, Kickstart Fund, Promontory Mortgage, Molson Coors, and Comcast. Finally, thank you to our partner and member sponsors listed on the screen. Thank you for your support of Denver Startup Week. Now let's get to it.
Quizlet is a global learning platform that provides engaging study tools to help people practice and master whatever they're learning. Every month, over 50 million people use Quizlet to study any subject imaginable, for school, work, or as part of their personal interests.
Quizlet is super efficient, and I often, walk to class with it on my phone or even just before I go to sleep.
Combining cognitive science and machine learning, Quizlet guides students through adaptive study activities to confidently reach their learning goals. Quizlet has over 200 employees across 3 offices in San Francisco, Denver, and London.
Being at the Denver Quizlet office for the last year has been pretty incredible. Seeing the office grow while maintaining its, core connections to our values. It's been an incredible experience to be a part of, seeing how humble, candid, and open everyone has been, and being part of a mission-driven company in a time of uncertainty has been incredibly rewarding. So I look forward to, what the future brings, because the last year has been a wonderful experience. Thank you, Quizlet.
Hey everyone, my name's Adam Bauman and I'm part of the Quizlet team here in Denver. I'm proud to work for a company that's goal is to help every single person on this earth become a better lifelong learner. One of my favorite things about working at Quizlet is how much we follow our company values. There's always learning opportunities. We encourage everybody to teach themselves something new, as well as help each other learn. Whether it's from art classes or lunch and learn talks on latest technologies, there's always something new to find and help yourself grow. And I really feel like that's one of the best things that any company can offer is growth and opportunity.
Hey, and happy Denver Startup Week. I think it's really cool how much Quizlet's values matches up with Denver Startup Week's and that continuous learning. I'm Michael Ostro. I'm one of the organizing committee members for Denver Startup Week. As you already know, this is the first ever completely virtual Denver Startup Week, which is huge. And our team is doing so much fun stuff behind the scenes as well. So I'm sure this isn't your first session you're tuning into, so welcome back. If it is your first session, welcome. And make sure to attend some other amazing sessions as well. If there's one thing that 2020 has taught us, it's coming together as a community is extremely important. I don't know about you, but personally, I'm sitting at home all the time. I'm pretty isolated. I know how important it is for community. I've also learned other things during 2020, but of utmost importance, come together and connect with other people. And at Denver Startup Week, one of the biggest things we strive for is creating a safe space to learn, grow, and connect. That's regardless of gender identity, gender expression, race, ability, sexual orientation, or any combination of those identities. So again, please feel free to check other sessions. There are probably other sessions that you're going to want to enjoy as well, learn from, and take the effort and connect with some other people as well during this week. So thanks again for tuning it in, and let's get the session started.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matthew Glotzbach, the CEO of Quizlet, the global online learning platform. It's really hard to believe it's been a year since the last Denver Startup Week. And yet, it also feels like a million years ago. I've been thinking a lot about what to talk to you about, what to share, in a year that's been so eventful, so intense, and frankly, just a little bit insane. Reflecting has reminded me of how important it is for us as innovators and as business people to come together to talk about our experiences, our philosophies, and really share our learnings. As a CEO of a company navigating the impact of a global pandemic and a country trying to hold on to the feeling of community, I'm getting asked often to share advice on how to grow and make a business successful at this time. You know, at Quizlet, we've had a big year. We raised a Series C round in April, and it came with $1 billion valuation. And we're also a consumer learning company finding itself smack in the middle of a pandemic and an education revolution, where everyone's looking for digital tools that help them continue their studies and reach their learning goals. And look, there's no silver bullet, and we're all navigating new territories, but my advice to you is really simple. Focus on what you can control. So for me, it's the philosophy I have adopted to run our business, which I want to share with you today. You've all probably heard various frameworks, I imagine, and pillars of good business and way to run a business. And the one I use is really simple. It's about people, purpose, and profit. I like to think, you could think of it as a three-legged stool, because if you lose one, your company's going to tip over. So let me walk you through each of those pillars or each of those legs of that stool. Look, it all starts with people. And I know everyone says, oh, you need good people, and there's a lot of focus on recruiting the best and the brightest in whatever industry you're in. And look, while recruiting is important and you've got to get that right, it's just the beginning. It's not what's going to determine if you're successful or not. You know, I'd ask you to think about what motivates us as human beings. I like Daniel Pink, the New York Times author, whose books focus on business and human behavior. He lays out simply and convincingly that what motivates us is three things: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So what does that mean? Well, it means we need to show trust in our employees, and we need to invest in their futures. As leaders, as managers, ask yourself, are you creating an environment where people can really be their best selves, where they can grow their career? As long as that is true, your people are going to stay with you and they're going to thrive. Because look, career growth is key for people. It's essential that we're creating pathways for their advancement and helping them master their craft. At Quizlet, we create job opportunities that can really help plan for career tracks. And we're big on a feedback-rich culture and feedback loops so that we're able to provide employees with development plans and ensure that they have that growth. When we were less than 50 people, we took each of those major career tracks: software engineering, design, marketing, product management, et cetera, and we created detailed job ladders and defined the levels, because we recognized that even as a small but high growth company, people wanted to see what their career was going to look like. They wanted to know that they had a development path at Quizlet. Another little thing that we do that I just love that I want to share with you is we have this Quizlet Values Slack channel where employees can celebrate and thank colleagues for all the great work they've done around them. And we've created Slack emojis representing each of our 5 core values. And anytime any employee sees something in Slack that's demonstrating one of those values, they can simply add a reaction with that emoji and it cross-posts it into the values channel. It's a little thing, but it really brings that focus on people to life. We also do things like we give every employee a personal development budget of $1,000 a year to teach themselves something new, which is also one of our 5 core values. You know what else is really essential for people, especially now? Feeling included. You've got to make a priority to create a diverse and inclusive environment. It's everyone's responsibility to be an active participant in this and to help make your environment the diverse place that it can and must be. But all of you business leaders, entrepreneurs, you've got to figure out what great really looks like here. And then you've got to help make it happen. To share with you, at Quizlet, we talk a lot about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And our ultimate goal is to be as diverse as our global user base. 3 years ago, to start holding ourselves accountable, we started publishing our annual diversity and inclusion report. And I'm really excited to report that we've continued to make great progress. A couple of stats: over a third of our technical managers at Quizlet are women, and 36% of my leadership team are also women. In fact, 40% of our overall technical team is female and 60% male. Look, we still have a long ways to go, and we need to continue to grow the diversity of our team. We've set specific diversity targets to increase the number of underrepresented minority employees to at least 10% this year. And one of the other things I've learned, and one of my best pieces of advice that I can give you from what we've learned from our colleagues and the teachers and students of color that are part of our broader Quizlet community, is that it's not their responsibility to educate us on the challenges we face or how to make the workplace more inclusive. It's up to all of us to make that happen. They need their colleagues and managers to do the work, to put in the effort and make the change that we collectively want to see. So that's a lot about people. And so that brings me to purpose. So Daniel Pink reminds us that people are motivated by autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So when you're building a company, the purpose, the why you exist really matters. In tech, this is where people start talking about their amazing product or technology they discovered or a breakthrough business process. But the purpose of your business is more fundamental than that. Who are you solving a problem for? And what problem are you solving for them? That's why your company mission is so critical. It's designed to be your guiding light, to serve your customers. And it's what you and your colleagues fundamentally get up for every morning and strive to accomplish every day. At Quizlet, we're obviously a very purpose-driven company. Our mission is to help people practice and master whatever it is they're trying to learn. And look, I know you might say, oh, that's easy to talk about purpose in an education-focused company. But my company does process automation, or my company's building developer tools, or something to increase productivity or decrease costs. But look, as a founder or early employee, you joined that company to solve a problem for someone. You saw an opportunity to build a big business by solving some person, group, or company's need. Make sure you know the why of that purpose and really lead with that. Let me give you an example, which is Quizlet's backstory. Quizlet was started by a high school student to solve a studying need, his own. He was looking for a better way to study French vocab for his French class in high school. And through word of mouth, other students began using it to study. And it just grew from there. Look, what started as a simple digital flashcard tool has evolved into an intelligent study platform that helps people all around the world. At Quizlet, we now have over 50 million monthly active users across 130 countries. And we're popular with high school students, college students, as well as professional and vocational learners. You know, we actually just launched for this back to school the Quizlet Learning Assistant, which is our latest set of AI study features. The Learning Assistant acts as like a personal tutor for students by combining machine learning data with learning science to really build on a user's past performance and guide their path to mastery. A significant challenge today of distance learning is that it requires more discipline from students to stay focused on studying and keep up with the curriculum outside of the classroom. And while a few students have access to resources like a hired tutor or a teacher for their pod or in their family, that's just not the case for most people around the world. So we feel like the Quizlet Learning Assistant can help close that access gap by providing effectively one-on-one personalized learning for every student during this increasingly challenging time. And look, I tell you all that because it brings me to a key point about purpose. You've got to know your users. You've got to know your customers. Know them really, really well. Stay close to them. Do everything you can to stay connected to them and understand where they are in that journey. Talk to them. When you start a business, the founder and everyone working with you should be speaking to your customers and learning about all you can about their needs. You should intimately understand the problem you're trying to solve. But then you've got to check on them. Just because you've scored a customer doesn't mean that relationship doesn't need nurturing. Your existing product or service alone won't keep them happy. Ensuring your product evolves and continues to be of value to them is what you need to do. Look, when Quizlet was small, everyone spent time connecting with students and educators to understand what they were looking for in effective study tools, both inside and outside the classroom. In fact, we even have a classroom visit program so that every employee could go see our product in action in that setting. Now, fast forward, and we're over a couple hundred employees now across 3 different office locations. And like everyone else, we're under quarantine. So we've built in communication norms that allow people closest to our users to really spread and disseminate what they're learning to the rest of the company so that everyone can still feel connected. Let me share a couple examples with you. So we have a weekly company meeting on Fridays, and we run a user spotlight feature. And what we do is we interview users from all walks of life and all areas of focus, whether it's like a college pre-med or a high school Spanish student or a university professor. And we share those vignettes of students on video with the rest of the company. And it's such a great way to feel, like to really feel what they're experiencing and to ground that and bring it forward to everyone. Another awesome little Hack Week project that we did this summer, a couple of our interns built this amazing little Slack bot that delivers a new user story to the entire company every day. Like, that's how important this is to us. Our purpose is to continue to be our users' advocate and their solution. So we've talked about people and the importance of their career growth. We've talked about purpose, knowing who you're serving and leading with the why. So as we think about that last P of profit, in addition to people and purpose, you need to give attention to the third leg of the stool. The importance of thinking about and making it a priority at the right time is really critical. Look, I know profit can be a difficult topic for some of us, especially those who've started a business with the sole vision of serving a population's need and having an altruistic approach to that vision. But look, you've got investors, you've got employees, and you have aspirations to grow. The profit element is often maligned because either you think it's a purpose over profit, or you think, well, we'll build a great product and serve customers and we'll figure out the business model later. But look, let me tell you a little secret. That doesn't work. You need to have a plan for your business model from the beginning. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying. You don't have to have a functioning business model on day one, but what you have to have a thought out business model on day one. And those two things are very different. And the idea is this: if you have a realistic sense of how your product or service is going to turn into a viable business that is sustainable, you don't have to implement it on the first day, but too many people don't even think about it. You know, and frankly, oftentimes founders are given what I think is really poor advice of, well, just focus on the product and we'll figure out the revenue later. Don't worry about the money. In tech, and especially now that the internet is where business is at, you have to think about what your business model needs to be. Because look, internet businesses are often misunderstood and not well thought through. Consumers, we all as consumers, are taught to think all of these services on the internet are free, but they aren't free. Many of them are funded by advertising or by our data. So these are clearly viable business models, but if you're going to build an ad-supported business, you need to be thoughtful about that, and you need to understand how the mechanics of that will work, especially if and how they will fit into your product vision and your product's purpose. And of course, haven't we all conditioned to believe that the ultimate goal is to become a unicorn, right? So for those of you who aren't familiar, a unicorn is sort of this, in Silicon Valley, is a privately held company that's worth more than $1 billion. The term was actually first used about 7 or 8 years ago by a venture capitalist named Aileen Lee. And she chose this icon because of the rarity at the time of such a company. But over the last few years, you know, it's come to represent something else, almost like an ethos of growth at all costs. And specifically growth that's funded by venture capital, so that companies have the freedom to not worry about the business model, not worry about the revenue. You know, we'll figure that out later. You know, I think this ethos and that mindset is based on the perception that there's unlimited venture capital out there and effectively unlimited time. But that's why many believe it means to be that's what many believe it means to be a unicorn. But for startups, I actually think there's a more appropriate mascot, and one that we've adopted and that we like. Having just been through this journey ourselves, let me give you a little bit different perspective on the $1 billion status. And this wasn't a completely original thought. I borrowed it from an advocate of this idea, Alex Lazaro. And the mascot is a camel rather than a unicorn. So Alex is a global venture capitalist, and he's an author of a great book called Out Innovate. And here's what it means to run your business like a camel. Camels can adapt. right? They can survive the harshest environments in the world and have adapted to survive and even thrive in really harsh, hot, and dry climates. And what you probably most know a camel for is that they can go long periods of time without food or water, months, right? That's sort of what we think about when we think about a camel. But what you might not know is that when water is available, camels can guzzle water faster than any other animal on earth. And they're really fast too. They can sprint for long distances. And they're showing that, as a concept, they're ready to jump on an opportunity when they find it. So why am I talking about camels? When we think about Quizlet and how we grew, being a camel is what helped us reach that billion-dollar valuation. We've always been about steady, responsible growth and providing a real product solution and a real business model for our users and their needs. Look, in these unprecedented times, as we look at the global economy affected by a pandemic and other factors, I really urge you to consider the long game for the business that you're building. And when you think about profit as a priority for your company, remember that ultimately your goal is to be a successful business, so you continue to invest in your people and your purpose. So what I hope you're able to walk away with today is this framework that really helps ground you, and I hope it helps motivate you to build a successful business and one that you're really proud of. Put thoughtfulness and effort into the three pillars I've talked about today: your people, your purpose, and your profit. Because look, all three of these are critical. If one isn't cared for, the balance gets thrown off and your proverbial stool will just fall over. So I'd encourage you to, 1, take ongoing care of your people. 2, be mindful of your true purpose. And 3, don't forget about your plan for profit. It's so great that we have events like Denver Startup Week to connect each other and to learn from one another. I know at Quizlet, we've got a number of people speaking at various sessions this week, and we're sponsoring the development track. I look forward to attending a bunch of sessions and learning and hearing from many of you. The more that we can create this healthy, innovative business environment, both here in Denver and beyond, the more people can thrive and your business pursuits can have a positive, tangible effect. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you enjoy the conference.